our next talk. And I hope you guys are excited because, sorry to Isaac and Michael, but Magatte's one of my favorite speakers of all time. So I'm going to introduce Magatte Wade. She was born in Senegal and then educated in Germany and France. And she launched her entrepreneurial career in the San Francisco Bay Area, where she co-founded Adina World Beverages after working closely with Silicon Valley startups. She's a TED Global African Fellow, and she started a new company, Tiosan, a contemporary lifestyle products brand that integrates the three cultures that formed her. She was named one of Forbes' 20 youngest power women in Africa and writes for the Huffington Post and other publications. So please get excited and give a hand for Ms. Magatte Wade.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thanks to everyone for coming today. And thank you so much to the Dean of the College of the Bahamas. It's a pleasure being here. As you will find, I am the no PowerPoint gal. I don't use PowerPoint. And also I hate being confined over here. So I'm going to try to move up here. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. So if you ever want me to go back here, just tell me. But it feels like you hear me better here. So I'm going to stay here just for you. My name is Magatte Wade, and I was born in Senegal, the west coast of Africa. Whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, you guys have to understand that entrepreneurship is what makes me vibrate. It's basically my soul. And why has it become my soul? Because as I stand here in front of you, you have to know that two things keep me up at night on a constant basis. And one is my people, the Senegalese, are dying on a regular basis. You guys hear about the Syrian refugees today, kids being washed off, of the water. Well, I have had stories like that about my own people going on for as long as I can remember being alive on this earth. What is it like? So every single day, I get news from back home of people, young people, most of them younger than most people in this room, that are now laying at the bottom of the ocean, somewhere between Dakar and Spain. They're laying at the bottom of the ocean. People like you and me, black people, laying at the bottom of the ocean, serving as fish food. Why? Why? For the simple reason that they needed a job. They were on these little boats trying to cross the ocean to go find a job so that they can feed their families. And right now, they're serving as fish food. I just want you guys to take a second and think about that for a minute. How wrong is that? How heartbreaking is that? I don't know for you, but I'm one of those people who has a heart, and it does break my heart to no end. And at the same time as my people are dying, going and looking for work, my culture also is dying. Why? Because the Senegalese, as most of the Africans, and I'm going to go ahead and dare to say it, as most of black folks in the world, have a level of they have a cultural inferiority. We have a complex of cultural inferiority, whether we admit it or not. I don't like to lie to myself. I want to progress in life, so I see things, I look at things for what they are. We could sit here and talk about why that is the case. Why do we have this complex of inferiority for those of us who have it? We can talk about and debate about it all day long. I am not interested in debating those things because, quite frankly, it is complicated, right? But what I cannot act on the past. I cannot act on all of those reasons that got us to where we are. But you gotta be for sure that I definitely can act on today and I can act on tomorrow because that's all I have. So, on one end, my people are dying looking for work. On another end, my culture is dying because we have decided that everything that comes from other people is better than what comes from us. Whatever. So, very early on, I discovered something. it just was really weird to me. I really had to understand, where does this come from? Like, how does it work? And why is it that anywhere I go around the world, I ask young people, I'm interested in young people, because wherever in my mind, wherever your youth is, tells me where your future will be, because guess what? Little will become big, right? So where does a youth want to go? So whether I am somewhere in the middle of Tahiti, somewhere far away, or somewhere in France where I grew up, or Germany, or it doesn't matter, name it, Rwanda. I ask young people, where do you want to go to visit? Do you know which place in the world comes back 99.9% of the time? Which country do you think these kids are all dreaming of? That's right, America. And when it's not America, it's somewhere in Europe, because they'll be, ooh, I want to go visit France. Ooh, I want to go visit Italy. Ooh, I want to go visit Spain, Barcelona. Yeah. And then you wonder, like I see a bunch of Americans in the middle of nowhere in America who don't even have a passport. And they're dreaming of Europe most of the time. I have, when I go to France and I go to economic conferences in front of a bunch of Nobel laureates people, and I say, do you know that the streets of Kigali are cleaner than the streets of Paris? People are like, huh? Are you crazy? Well, yes, it is true. I've gone to both places, and I can tell you that for a fact. But what does it all mean? People who never had a passport, never ever left their little town, let alone traveled the world, are dreaming of a place like America. How do you think they know about a place like America? Hollywood movies. Do you know why, when I finally got my pick to go anywhere in the world to settle in, I chose America? I chose America because of Starkey and Hutch. I was watching that thing, and I could see the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and I could see the streets and all that stuff, and I'm like, I want to go to America. That's what sold me America in my very, very early ages. And I bet you, all of you here, something right now is probably calling you to that country. Even if it is, yes, the Kardashian sisters. Right? But guys, we're laughing here, but think about it. What has that country done so well? It has succeeded at what I call branding. Branding is this thing that, I don't know, you make it yours. You want to live that life or that culture, whatever it is. You believe in that culture, they sell you. Who here has ever bought Hollister clothes? Or knows of a Hollister brand? Raise your hand high. I see almost, if you were from here, you would freak out. Almost all hands are up. Now, you think Hollister must be this cool beach town somewhere in California, right? I used to live in San Francisco in California. Hollister, we in California used to call it the armpit of California. There is no beach down there. It's in the middle of nowhere, really, really hot, down south to Gilroy, really hot, heated. There are no surfer dudes, that I can tell you that much. None of that stuff. Yet Hollister is making you believe, has made you buy into this entire culture of a surfer dude. How powerful is that? Santa Claus. You know, like how during Christmas, we all celebrate Christmas with this little guy with his outfit and everything? Do you know where that comes from? A pure fabrication of Coca-Cola. For those of you who didn't know, yes. Do you see now the power of brands and branding for establishing cultures, real or not? So, remember, my people are dying? And my culture is dying? My people are dying because they're looking for work. My culture is dying because our culture is not strong enough. Our culture is not revered enough. So what I did is I combined, my solution was, I'm going to come up with consumer brands that have embedded in their DNA the very best of what my culture had to offer. And as I do that, I bring that to the rest of the world. So my first company was beverages, and guess what? It was selling hibiscus drink. I'm sure you have it here too. That's what I brought back. That's what I brought to the US market. And I did not want to have it confined to the ethnic market, because if we stay in the ethnic market, we stay in our own little ghetto. And I am not interested in just us staying here, because as long as we stay here, the world doesn't know about who we are. They look at us as a little entity over there. No, I want to come and I want to infiltrate everybody. I want to make them part of their life. Because once you become part of their life, once they put you on their backs, and they drink your beverages, and they eat your foods, in which, remember, you have put in the very best of who you are, then guess what happens? Happens something that no amount of activism can ever do. What happens is they start to fall in love with you. The barrier of the heart has been opened, and they start to respect you. The barrier of the mind has been opened, and you know darn well that those are barriers that no force, no coercive force ever can open, and thankfully so. It's a good thing you can't force me to love someone, right? But once you love me, isn't that the most genuine feeling there is? And I think that's what all of us, especially black people, are so in need for. And I don't care if those of you who say, oh, well, why do we need to wait for their approval? It's not a matter of waiting for somebody's approval. It's just a matter of being the humans that we are. And as humans, we all crave dignity. And we all crave respect. And we all crave love of others towards us. So for those of you who took the easy route of, they're going to do whatever they do over here, we're going to do whatever we do over here, I'm like, keep taking the easy route, which actually will not take us anywhere. I am interested in the harder challenge. So that's why I built these companies, and my market is the United States of America, knowing that if I conquer that market, guess what? The rest of the world wants you, because that's how it works for now. So your kids will be born in a world where our brands, because now I have a skincare company that brings back all the knowledge and all the know-how of African women, and we're putting them forefront, right, where it's African women, black women, teaching the rest of the world how to care for themselves. Because up till now, they thought we were this poor, pathetic little women somewhere in Africa who don't even have enough, even have a place to sleep in, let alone women who are caring for their beauty. No, we have been caring for our beauty for thousands of years, thank you very much. And we can bring that back. So, you see now how building consumer brands that have embedded in them the very best of my culture will help expand my culture. Because anything that doesn't expand will eventually die. So we'll help expand my culture, taking it to other people. And at the same time, as a company like that thrive, guess what? Like we're doing now, we're taking the operations of our company back to Africa so that we can create these amazing jobs with tons of added value in them back to Africa. And so my solution is right there. My culture is going to expand, people get a job, and all is well. So you can see why, for me, entrepreneurship is not only important, it's personal. So I have vowed my entire life to defending entrepreneurship. And the different ways in which I do it is four different ways. One is obviously I practice. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm building my second company, and I'm starting my third company, it's on stealth mode right now. At the same time, I preach. I come and I do what I do here today. Because one thing I have noticed is that for too many people, the fact of entrepreneurship is hidden. It's so like, how do you say that? It's so like dull that most people don't think about it. We take it for granted. So much that I will tell you, did you know that at the UN, they put a resolution, the entrepreneurship resolution, 3 years ago I think it was. Do you know, basically the representative of Israel to the UN heard me talk about how I felt like entrepreneurship was going to be the solution to most of the ills we complain about in the world. And he said, I was shocked. But after that talk, he invited me and said, I want you to come back because I put through the resolution on entrepreneurship because now it is clear to us that entrepreneurship is the best way to fight poverty, gender imbalance, education, access to water, name it. I was like, really? That happened just 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I give some conferences where once I'm done, you have the people at the Bono Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, all of these people who have been working for years, for decades on poverty, and they're now tweeting. I'm seeing that I'm trending on Twitter. Because why? Because I said that, for example, the greatest social good is to give someone a job. People are like, it's a revelation for them. For me, it's not. So, important for me to preach along those lines. And then the other thing I do also with my time is I work on policies, changing policies. Someone said earlier, what do you do when you work in an environment that's not supportive of you? That's not supportive of everything we talk about here? I understand, vote with your feet, but how many of us really seriously can vote with their feet? How many of us can emigrate to another country legally, right? In my case, I could emigrate to any country in the world I want. Now I'm in the US, but guess what? I'm doing the reverse journey. I'm going back actually home to Africa, because if we want for those people to stop taking these boats to go to Europe and to die at sea, I have to create enough jobs for them back home so that they get to stay. So I am confined by my country. I have nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. And I would like to think that many of you Bahamians would actually love to stay in your country given the chance, right? So then we have to stay and we have to fight. This is not unsurmountable. I don't want you guys to start thinking of our government as a religion. You know, God is here. We do what we do with our God. But this government here is no God. Okay? So we've got to be able to change stuff. So what I'm doing right now, for example, in my country, is that we have looked at something that most of the world doesn't look at. They're all sitting there and be like, oh, Africa is so poor. It's such a poor region of the world, blah, blah, blah. But then nobody ever looked at the fact. By now, I hope that we have made the connection that poverty is a matter of lack of job, and that job comes from entrepreneurs. I do hope that we all agree on that in this room, right, by the way? Okay, so if we agree that poverty will be fixed by job creation, and job creation comes about through entrepreneurship, then don't you think that we should focus all that we have as a country on entrepreneurship, on those entrepreneurs, on those company creators? Don't you think we should make it easy for he or she to create a company in the first place and run it? Right. Okay, you say yes, but did you know, I challenge any one of you to look at the Doing Business Index ranking of a World Bank. Have you ever looked at that ranking? No. And then we're going to sit here and complain that we have a poverty problem. Don't worry. What I see here is what I see in my country. I see it in Cameroon. Everywhere I go, all these poor countries I go to that have a poverty problem, I see the same problem. People don't even know about this ranking. What is the Doing Business ranking of a World Bank? It is basically this ranking that takes all the countries in the world, and then they look at how easy it is to start and run a business. And guess what? Most of the countries at the bottom are African countries. I did not get to check where Bahamas is on there. But there is a strong correlation, because guess what? If you're going to make it poison for me to start a business, do you really think I'm going to start my business there? Hell no. Right? And this is what happens day in and day out. And then they have a labor law, stupid labor laws. In Senegal, for example, stupid labor laws. You hire an employee, you're married to your employee for good or for bad. And then I have this ridiculous economist who is a Nobel Prize, mind you, who is telling me, but because he's very on the left, and he's telling me, oh, no, it's going to be, you can fire someone, except it's going to take you up to at least 6 months and a lot of money. Do you think that as an entrepreneur, I want to hear that crap? No. And then you wonder why that country has employment problem that come from the fact that not enough entrepreneurs want to stay there or invest there? Guys, none of this is rocket science. None of it. But despite it not being rocket science, you have to educate yourself on these issues. Because if you come and you tell me, I've got a poverty problem, and you come and you tell me, how do I fight this system? Yet I don't know anybody here who knows even about this ranking. If you can't identify your problem, how can you fix it? So I wasted no time. In my country, I am working with a foundation. It's not, it's a think tank. And we are working, and what we did is we dissected all the 10 indicators of the Doing Business Index ranking. And we started looking at which one could we tackle the easiest, the fastest. So while we are creating awareness in the country on these issues, we are also working on policy reforms, because we know that any reform that happens on that Doing Business Index ranking for our country will automatically correlate to more companies being created, and more companies being created means more jobs being created. Then compound the whole thing. And I do think that if we do our job right, if we do our job right in Senegal and we get us to a certain level, I am, yes, crazy to think that maybe within 15 to 20 years, my poor country of Senegal today could actually be richer than France 20 to 25 years from now. Yes, I believe that. That's a power that is in these reforms that most of us take for granted and don't even know about. So you're serious about poverty in your country? Start showing how serious you are by educating yourself and starting putting pressure where pressure is due. Because you guys are the youth. No government wants an unhappy youth. Except right now, the youth is unhappy. But when you ask them, oh, what do you want? Well, we want more jobs, okay? We want access to, cheaper housing, okay? Free education, okay? And most of the time, those things that you claim you want, if we really go for it, it doesn't really bring you what you want. So you guys have to really start becoming serious. So that's the number 3 thing that I do. And the last leg of my monomaniacal focus on entrepreneurship, remember I told you practice, preach, policy work. The last one is education. That goes straight back to the systems that you were complaining about, the ecosystem that you're in. So right now, half of the profits, I didn't say 10%, I didn't say 20%, I didn't say 30%. I said half. Half of all the profits of my current company go towards the creation of an innovative school in Senegal so that we can create, it's a school that's designed specifically to foster the next entrepreneurs of my country. Because while I'm trying to create jobs today, I got to work on the job creators of tomorrow. And the job creators of tomorrow, if any of you has been following what the world has been offering, it is scary what's coming at us. It is really scary. And if you think it's a matter of catching up with education the way we know it, you've got it all wrong. All wrong. What's coming at us, the school that my husband, for example, has created in Austin and the type of students that they're training there, those kids, when they will come out to us, the rest of us will be happy because they're going to bring us so much innovation. But the rest of us better go hide because there's no way for us to compete with these people. So I am not interested in catching up with the system, thank you very much. We have to leapfrog this damn thing. Excuse me for my bad word. But as you can see, I have a strong sense of urgency. We are beyond catching up on anything because we have been sleeping for way too long. And when you sleep for way too long, guess what? When people come to wake you up, it's never a nice wake up. It's like by that time I have to kick you in the ribs. That's what we have to do right now, and that's what I'm doing. So this is what I do. And I do it because I don't want to see one more person die for something as simple as looking for a job. And as a proud, proud, proud African, as a proud Senegalese gal, I don't want that 10 years, 20 years from now, the only way you will ever know about my culture is by going to a museum. I leave you with that, and I thank you. I don't know how long we have for question and answers, but let's, 20 minutes. See, for you guys, how long? 28. Wow, I was short with you guys. Usually I talk and talk and talk and talk, but here I'm like, maybe I think we want to have a conversation. So let's get it started. Who has questions? And while you guys are mustering up the courage to stand up and go ask your question, I will challenge you with one more thing. Why is it that when I see a room full of very capable people who I know have fire in them, but it's in Africa or other places, when the question time comes, it's like people are scared. Are you guys scared? I heard yes. Who is scared here? Raise your hand. We gotta help you. We're together here. Raise your hand. We're gonna make it like a. Who said yes? I heard a yes, and I heard it this direction over here. Right? Okay, so you guys are. Oh, you're scared, sir? Oh no. Okay, I thought I saw your hand. But you have a question? Go ahead. Yeah. So we have microphones over here and over here. So just.
gentleman over there. I listened to yourself and I recognize that you have the fire in you. As a young man, I speak to a few of my colleagues as well, a few of them know me. I was feeling everything what you were saying. We have a sense of fear because, example, I am what you call old people children, right?
You what?
Old people children. My father's 73, right? And it is embedded in us in terms of, go to school and go find a job, right? Majority, that's what is embedded in us. So when you come with something different, in terms of, I have this vision, even when you go to your other students who are in the same age bracket as you, because because it is instilled in us, when you come with a different idea, a different vision, it's like you're a crazy person, like what you're talking about. So it's difficult for even entrepreneurs who have this vision to even find people who see it the way how you see it. It's very difficult. And I spoke to my father about it last night in terms of, it's this communication barrier with the older generation and our generation, because I've experienced it for the past 3 months, in terms of even me getting advice from the older generation. It's this, I feel oppressed, and it's I get angry, and I don't want to display this anger because of our culture. When you express something different that they don't understand, then they say you're rude and you're disrespectful. So, and I was like 100% the question what he was explaining to us, because even me as a student at the College of Bahamas, I saw issues that the cafeteria, I saw like problems, and I was going to higher powers, and I had plans, I had vision to even solve these issues, and it's like, I don't want to go deep there, but it's like, it's political, and it's more of money issues, and I'm like, I'm not asking for any issue, I'm saying this is the problem. I have a plan to fix these problems, but it's like, no, you're a student, you just come and get your education and just leave. So it's this, you get discouraged because you find that you feel like the older generation is supposed to guide you and encourage you, but you're actually pushed down. So it's very depressing.
No, and I thank you so much for that testimonial, because it is one that needed to be in this room if we are serious about tackling the issue. So I think this is an elephant in the room, but I'm so glad you brought up. And I will tell you that this problem is everywhere, except that for us, the children of black cultures, it is even worse than the other children, right? We have to acknowledge that. And I'm going to tell you something that I usually don't talk about in my talks. I don't really talk about it. I haven't talked to my parents. I spoke to my parents recently, but before that, I haven't spoken to them for 18 years. That's the price for me. But guess what? Today, my parents are knocking on every single door possible to be able to speak with me. I won that battle, but that was the price. And I think what you have to remember is that at this point, it's not about you alone anymore. At some point, I decided that what I do maybe could free the next generation. And that's what I'm seeing now. Now, all over Africa, I see young people starting companies. And I see their parents, actually, I see even some parents telling their kids, go do like what Magatte did. If only they knew what it cost Magatte. But it's okay, today everybody can know, because today the proof was made. So people are willing to come, to replicate. But if I had talked about it too soon, then people get even more scared, because they're like, hey, she hasn't gotten there yet, and look at everything she lost. For sure, I am not sticking my neck out. I could not even talk about my issues for a long time because there's such a thing as time. So now I'm able to talk about this. Because now that my parents read about me in magazines, you know, when you make the cover of Forbes and that their friends are calling them from everywhere, my parents, I made sure that they would never hear one bad thing about me. They never heard one bad thing about me. And people ask me, where does this crazy drive come from you? People say, there's this fire in you. That's what they don't know. The fire was about freeing myself up. And sometimes, you know, the French say you don't make omelets without breaking eggs. But sometimes you have to have that in your guts, that somehow, somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to have to challenge your status quo, and you're going to lose a lot. But look around us. Was this country a free country? How many people died for this country to be where it is today? Right? And now this sacrifice we're asking of you, is it even a sacrifice of life or death? I'm not dead. No one threatened to kill me. But it's the battle within you. And I'm not going to sit here and saying I'm some hero. That's not the point. The point is, we are all scared. The point is, we all have our issues. But at some point, what do you want to be your legacy? Because that day when I die and I face my Creator, He's going to ask me, what have you, Magatte, done for my most cherished creation, which is man? And I want to answer, this is what I did, God. And I know I will be allowed in the kingdom. That's all I care about. And I did my best with everything that I had. And my parents turned around. And I think, and I believe it's all going to work out. This is the only answer I could give you. This is my life. So all of it is just to say, everything you're talking about, I know about it and more. My friends making fun of me, saying, oh, you're going to the best schools in the world and blah, blah, blah. Now you're going to be selling what? Flower juice? They were laughing. Everybody was laughing at me. Oh, I've heard crap and beyond crap. But I surrounded myself, like Isaac was saying, by those 5 people who define who you are. I picked them carefully, and I only made sure I was around them. And they helped me get to where I am, of course, with His help. So make a decision. Yes, ma'am.
Morning, Ms. Wade. I just wanted to come up and make a comment. I really enjoyed your talk this morning, very inspiring. But just something I want to mention to the young man, or something I want to say, and to everybody in the room. When it comes to your ideas, or what's inside of you, that's there. Do not let anyone discourage you, okay? Just keep pushing for what it is. Be vocal. Drive yourself to accomplish what it is that you want to. Anybody who knows me in this room know that whatever I put my mind to do, I will achieve. And that's something I've instilled in myself from an early age, and that's what I'm trying to instill in my children. You have older parent or older father, they won't see your vision or understand it the way you do. And that's okay. You don't need to try and convince somebody of what it is that you're working towards. Once you have it in you, you drive your vision. And that's, you will be successful if you keep the focus.
Thank you.
Hello? Okay. Mrs. Wade, I celebrate you. I love a woman like you. Okay? Seriously, you're similar to a person after my heart. You know what I mean? People don't know you like God and like the way you do. And in this world today, and wherever we are, you know, whatever, the world is big, but yet it's small. We all need to be the change that we want to see, and take the pressure of other people and pointing fingers. And like you say, you know, and it takes a living sacrifice. You know, in fact, the way I see people every day, like you say, you have a circle of people who probably are your mentors and who you follow and look up to. I do too, okay? In fact, a lot of people I see are living dead. Oh, they're living. They're in a lot of the living. But as far as the next level and inspiring and building you, it's just not there. They're not cutting it. I'm the very person, I keep it real. I don't come up to this mic for nothing. So I say that to say I mean, thanks for coming to the Bahamas. Thanks for whoever's responsible for putting on this presentation today. Okay? Because in the Bahamas, we need a deliverance. I'm serious. That man who spoke before, and even the point I'm making now, there is this status quo, this oppressive spirit. And I've heard a recent teaching just Wednesday in my local church, where it said that like in nations where you're from, and even predominantly black nations, so it is. That's just reality, not to put a color on it like that. Because I'm colorblind. We all were created by God, and thank God he's a God of variety. Right. But like your nation is very rich, but you notice there's a lot of poverty. Yeah. But where do you find the most oil and natural resources and gold and diamond, huh? Africa.
That's right.
Okay? In the Bahamas too, full of natural resources. It was like there's just this spirit of oppression or the status quo. And we are the people who are the answers to our own problems.
And I totally agree. I totally agree
That's
with
right.
you. Do you, did you have a specific question you wanted to ask?
Okay, my question after making that comment.
Because I could listen to you all day long, though, by the way.
which relates to, and on the same page with what you're talking about, is that, okay, let me put on my glasses to know what I have here. I hear in you that you have to want it bad enough, okay? You have to want whatever you want to achieve in terms of entrepreneurship and success bad enough.
Right.
And break beyond the mold.
Right.
Okay? There goes kind of the question of the first speaker. In an environment, hey, it's easy to run to another nation, be a brain drain, go
Right.
off to the USA. I
Right.
have a sister who looks like she doesn't want to come back. But I realize, hey, the struggle is real. I want to come back and make my nation the change I want to see. And I hear you saying that you want to go back and do that to Africa.
That's right.
So, I mean, hey, I guess you just got to stay in the struggle and be strong.
That's right.
To overcome.
How about this? How about we meet for around lunchtime? Come see me because I really loved your question earlier. So let's meet during lunchtime. Does that work for you? And thank you.
Mrs. Wade, you were such an inspiration sitting there in the chair. I didn't want to get up. It's amazing what people walk around campus carrying. Each of us in this room have a story. And hearing you speak about your family and persons back home in your country who died just looking for work, it really, really made me dwell on circumstances that I'm going through right here in my own country. Although we have a national epidemic going on, within my own family, I am the first one to have ever finished high school. I'm the first one to have ever applied to college. I've lost 5 of my family members very, very close to gun violence. In the space of 6 months, my mother's house was shot up. This was the day before I had to sit exams. My 11-year-old brother, he was shot in his abdomen. I am now trying to repair my mother's house. They were sleeping in a home where they would see large gunshot holes through the doors. But I say all of that to say, despite the circumstances, I still am pushing and I'm trying to make a way out. I'm 29 years old. I've been in college, believe it or not, for 11 years. And when I say that to persons, they look at me strange. But I've tried on my own to finish college, and it was difficult trying to carry a poor family and also trying to get your education. But I saw a pamphlet given out, and it had, for the same organization, I believe it's 16 to 25-year-olds, and I applaud them. But they have to remember also the adult learners out there, because you do not know what we are going through. You do not know our circumstances and where we came from. So as an entrepreneur, I want to form some type of company to inspire adult learners, to let them know that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter your circumstances, everybody should be afforded an opportunity to go to college. And just recently, there was an advertisement for a scholarship, and it had, again, 18 to 25-year-olds. I'm 29. And I looked at that and I said, I'm trying to finish school. How can I finish school with all of these restrictions? But despite the odds, I applied. I didn't let anyone set boundaries for me. I applied and I was recently awarded the scholarship. So, while I don't have a question, I just wanted to say continue to do what you're doing. And I want to encourage everyone in this room to keep pushing.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you guys, by now, I hope you're feeling it in your guts that this notion of entrepreneurship is not about blah, 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 and blah. I think, when Isaac was saying action, action, and it's the most important fact, it really is. The difference between an entrepreneur and anybody else who supposedly is not is that the entrepreneur at least took the first step. And once you take the first step, you stick with it, no matter what. And that's why usually they tell you it has to be something that you're passionate about. Because only passion, as in, if you're picking someone you're going to marry, you better pick someone you love and someone that you're not with just because of good looks or money in the bank, because all of that is going to go, or even health, good health. It's all up for grab. It's going to come and go. So if you were with that person because of those really shallow reasons, at the first bump in the road, it's over. So just like in love, in a relationship, you need love to sustain it through the hard times. You need passion on your entrepreneurial journey, because guess what? From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, it's going to be struggles. Struggles that are from you and struggles that are external to you, like the young lady there. When you wake up and the family member just got killed, my first company, when I started it, as soon as I raised my first $2 million of funding, my husband passed away. What do? I went back home to Senegal for a month, and I spent time with my elders to get me back on track. And I went back and I went fighting. That's what I did. And I could count you countless of these, countless. All the ways to having fights on the board with my partners and people coming and taking your company away. All of that stuff. But you show up again. So you see at the end, it is just, I want to say, it's a spirit. It's just a spirit. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I actually have a question. I wanted to know. Sorry. I want to know. I know simply the way that it's put to us is that even though it's a very educational institution, there is this belief that once you get a good degree, that it should be able to be the catalyst to really help to push you forward in life. Can you advise as to probably even what are some of the resources outside of not just the courses that you are offering, but what are some great tools that we can use within us that we can find to help us map this way forward? Because at least I can't speak for anyone else, but when it comes to something along this line, you used to think you just need to get a business plan and stuff like that, but now you're hearing that typically the typical advice that was given to us doesn't work any longer in this day and age. And there is a plethora of just information out there. And sometimes you're just intimidated by where to start. And so what is truly beneficial? And additionally, can you tell us really, in a real honest perspective, is it good to get an MBA and all these, pursue all these doctorate and PhD, if outside of just personal development is going to really benefit you in the long term towards the end of the bottom line for building an organization, or should you just focus on just reading books?
Uh-huh.
Because after spending all these years in school and you come out of it, and if it doesn't really help outside of just your personal self, and it doesn't help in terms of moving forward professionally, then you might as well be trying to figure, okay, is it even worth the push?
Thanks for the question. And by the way, I am not one of those who is going to tell you that a degree is going to get you anything. As a matter of fact, I am very anti-school, the way we know schools. And I've had a couple times the opportunity to do MBA programs at some very fancy universities in the United States, and I declined. Because for me, why would I go and spend $100,000 and waste 2 years of my life when I could take that $100,000, invest it in my business, and build it over the next 2 years, right? How stupid is that? You know, like what type of calculation is that? And who still would pick the other one if given that choice? And then they say, oh, well, in business school and MBA, you get to build your alumni, your network. Well, I don't need a network because I've been building my network from when I was little. That's the other thing, too. You need to start building networks ASAP. Everybody that's sitting next to you, behind you, in front of you, that's how it starts. Network is not, oh, I need to be connected to Mark Zuckerberg, whatever, in order to be networked. No. Just like you see these steps, I take one, and I go to the next, and I go to the next. Same thing with all of us people. All of us know way more folks than we think we know. So that's how it starts. So get to network as soon in life as you can. And I will tell you one thing I'm learning today, that networking is nothing else but just being genuinely nice to people. You know that recently I learned that just sending an email to someone who is sending me like, oh, they're sending me their newsletter. I'm like, oh my God, what is, but you know, there's something interesting in the newsletter. Just to say, hey, thanks, I got this, congrats. Just that will earn you so much bonus points, but most people don't know about that. So unless you're interested in them, you're like, I don't care, delete, 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 delete. And then when you need them, oh, by the way, where are you? No, it doesn't work like that. So networking, make no mistake, it's just being nice to people you respect. Any chance you're given to be nice, even if it's just to say, hey, was thinking about you, are you okay? So no degrees for me, don't do it. But in your situation, I will tell you, you know, my first company and even my second company, it was beverages and then it's skincare. And so basically, the beverage one, people are like, but you're not a food chemist. And the company I have now, but you're not a chemist. Well, I am not a chemist. I'm not a food chemist, but guess what? Way back in the days, and even today, don't you all still eat your grandma and your mom's foods? Does she have to be cooking it into an industrial kitchen? So, and have you ever seen how we make a mayonnaise? If you know how to make a mayonnaise, you know how to make a lotion. You know how to make a body cream. Yes, it is. So you get it started. That's what I did. Okay, I now have made these little portions of mine, the little ingredients that I know how to put in. Do you know what I did? Google is my best friend, girl. Get on Google and start Googling stuff. With my beverages, oh, I need to preserve this stuff. I don't know how to preserve it. I don't have a ways to go to, like big machinery, like buy multi-million-dollar equipment. I went on Google, I'm like, okay, how do you preserve drinks? All right, you have to boil it for at least 5 minutes, bottle it, close it tightly, and dump it in a bucket of ice. And it is true, it preserves. Because when you open it, you hear the pluck, you know, that tells you that that was all. So I was making my own little juices at home. And then I was putting it in my little cooler and taking it to the stores and knocking on doors and putting it on the shelves that way. And I did it until I got financing from, I did it until basically Pepsi showed up at our door interested in our product, in our company. You see there, did I sit there and be like, oh, I don't have a food chemist, degree, I'm stuck, or I don't know even like, I had a little bit of money, but I didn't have all the money that I would have needed to do this. I didn't stop anywhere there. Again, what I think our schools don't teach us is how to just get started. And that's a big problem. I think, I'm not going to talk about your school here because the fact that you're here and what I heard the dean say when she was talking, I just wanted to jump up and start dancing because a lot of people at business schools, believe it or not, do not speak the way she spoke. They do not say about entrepreneurs what she said about entrepreneurs. So you guys have a huge leg up right now because guess what? Ideas matter. If you don't believe that entrepreneurship and business matters, then we're all doomed. And what I heard coming from her talk was just unbelievable. So you have here someone who really, really believes in all of this, and actually something concrete, maybe you ought to spend more time with the dean. Remember when we said the 5 people that you surround yourself with? if I was here, I know I would spend a lot of time with her. And I'm sure there's many other people in the faculty that could help you down that path. So at the end of the day, surround yourself with people who allow you to just get started. And if you can't get it with the people who are around you, get on Google. Read the stories of others who dared to start. And it is that simple. And at one point, you will believe in it, and you're just going to jump out of your shoes, and you're going to get started, and people are going to be like, oh my God, who is this guy? And you're going to say, that's the man I've always was, except you've been stifling it. Right? Do you believe that you can do this? It's not just blah, blah, blah. This is what school tells us. School makes it think like it's rocket science to do anything. It's not. That's all I can tell you. I hope it's enough of an answer. Yes, sir? Sorry, I'm going to get in trouble. I think
With your business kind of slow or your interaction with your success with business, how do you motivate yourself?
How do I motivate myself? What I said earlier, it's just, I think for me, now I'm stuck. Now you see how I motivate myself. It's people like, it's you guys who motivate me. You see, I put myself so much out there that I no longer have a right to stop. And for someone like me at this stage, that's how I motivate myself. When I got started, I motivated myself with a vision that Isaac talked about. I had this vision in my mind. I believed it. I could see it. And that's what motivated me. I kept my eyes up in the air. I never looked down. I looked down only when it came time to do. But the rest of the time, I'm up here. That's how I keep it up first. And now, it's you guys who keep me accountable. Thank you.
You forgot my question, please?
Oh,
One left?
yes.
Very quickly, do you have any, in addition to what you said, ideas or programs that you found that universities or colleges, through your experience, can do or implement, in addition to what you said earlier, to help enhance the entrepreneurship among their students? Have you come across any unique concepts?
You know, I'm cheating a little bit here, but my husband will be speaking later this afternoon. He's the expert on these things that he can probably support with that. But in the meantime, I will say, keep doing what you're doing here. And I would also say, I don't know, do you guys have entrepreneurship clubs at the university? Yes or no? Okay, you don't have one, because clearly you're not even able to tell me a real answer. So that's where you get started. Start with a little club. And the club doesn't have to be something official. Make it something that just a few of you start meeting, and then start having all of your, and then maybe at lunch, some of you who are interested in maybe starting a club, come see me, and then we can see how maybe to get you started here. I'm not promising anything big, okay? But just maybe, you know, some few tips. Right? Okay.